excited.
It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielsen, Matt Kassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Two Guys and a Goalie Talk. Gazzola, Joaquin Gage inside the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen studio. Matty Kassian with a lovely bit of art over his shoulder. Where are you, Kass? Is this your studio at home, or have we been?
No. This is this is my normal office here. Although we're working on getting a full studio here too, so we'll have a nice little one here at some point. But this is downtown. This is my big boy job. This is needs some redecoration, but that's
Lovely.
okay.
What a wonderful art piece. Gager has taken up residency in the boardroom here at EST HQ, and it was great. I walked by, the lights were off, you were working on the projector, and I was like, who is that? And it was Joaquin.
Well, Kass can probably vouch the necessity of having dual screens. So it makes it so much easier going back and forth from page to page. So
going from like, I usually like 3 screens. So it's like when I go to 2 screens, I still am like, I can't see everything I need to see.
Yeah. I thought about one of those big, like, curved ones.
Yeah.
But I kind of like the 2 screens, fill up one, fill up the other. And well, Maddie and I had a big talk about it today.
Maddie's up to 14 screens in his office. We have also set the control element of the studio. Yeah. Quad screens, Maddie's saying. But the setup in Studio Cast, next time you're here, Maddie has actually added a lot. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screens where Zach to come and Trev will be set up. And then the camera. It looks great in here. And the room is oriented a little bit different in the studio. So progress as we head into year 2. And we're looking forward to it. Kass, you're good to go for pre and post game again this year, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Gotta look at the schedule, and we gotta figure out. No, that's okay. We gotta figure out when it works and when it doesn't. So I gotta get on that as we get closer and closer to the season here. Yeah, it's gotta get going. It's coming quick, fellas.
Well, Gager and I were looking at the schedule. We're like, split squad, and then Matthew's like, what do we do with a football game and an Oracle game?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy how quickly it's turned around. Kass, how is I just want to know, how'd the procedure go? Are you going to live longer and more manageable, or?
Yeah, got pushed back. So doctor called in sick. So yeah, I'll push back. So I live to see another day here, which is probably why I'm on air today and not laying in bed. So
love it. Get at us, 780-218-9999, the Paris Jewelers inbox. Of course, you can also, if you're watching on YouTube, we did hit the 10,000 subscribers. Big thank you to everybody for joining us on this first year, which is coming to a close this week. And then we begin year 2. We've got some neat little things that we'll unveil next week, as well as the new shows kicking off. EST Afternoons with Hernan Salas and Joaquin Gage from 1 to 3, and then that'll be followed up by the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne from 3 to 6. So a big accomplishment there. So thank you to everyone, and here, round of clicks, all that good stuff. And of course, a big thank you to all of our sponsors and partners here at EST, including Two Guys and a Goalie's presenting sponsor, which is GS Construction, setting in the industry standard for 50 years with quality, efficiency, and safety driving their success. GS Construction has a foundation built on teamwork, and now they want you to become a part of the team. Visit gsconstruction.ca, click Ready to Work, or visit their page. at Indeed.ca. And with the Next Person Up program at GS Construction, it's not just a job, boys, it's a career.
It is a career.
Love it.
Yeah, not a lot going on in the world of hockey. I guess I mean, obviously Leaf fans are really upset today with the fact that Austin Matthews wants to become an Edmonton Oiler.
Clearly. I like that. Gazzola Moose was saying, is McDavid ready to become a Leaf? And I said to him, well, I think Matthews might want to be an Oiler.
Yeah, you'd think that it's closer to home, isn't it? So whatever.
Yeah. Kass, we did see Matthews and McDavid skating together in Germany, of all places, and kind of neat to see. What do you make of that? What was one of the craziest situations in a pre-camp skate that you saw where you're like, how is that guy and that guy on the ice together? And Gager, I'm going to eventually throw that question to you too as well.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever saw anything quite like that where it's like in Germany, like two guys that aren't European that play in the NHL that are skating in Europe together. Like, because guys like that, you'll skate, you have different skates. You have Perry Perns here in Edmonton is, I think, going on one more week here. Like you have different skates where kind of before guys leave or as they're on their way out of town, everyone kind of is getting together and you guys are kind of in and out, but from different organizations, different teams, and you're skating together wherever you are. Now, I've seen guys where it's like they've been on the road because they had a wedding to go to, so they found a skate wherever they're, going to the wedding, like in Vancouver or Denver or wherever. So it's like guys travel and do that, but I haven't seen the Europe thing happen. So that was a little bit more bizarre because really I wouldn't bat an eyelash. Like if they were skating in Toronto, for example, it's like you wouldn't bat an eyelash at that.
No.
Even if they were skating in Edmonton, you probably wouldn't bat an eyelash at that. Well, maybe Edmontonians would, but you shouldn't, because you'd just be like, oh, well, Austin, maybe he was here for something. Maybe there was some marketing thing. Maybe there was some friend, again, that was like getting married or a personal reason that he was in town and he just got together to skate because he knows guys, he went out to ice. But the fact that it was in Europe was pretty weird. So I don't know if there was like an NHL marketing tour over there that we
had it
don't
last
know
week
about
in
or something.
Prague.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so DVD was there. I hadn't seen that. Last week was a write-off for me. So I didn't see that. So they obviously just extended their trip and were like, hey, we need to skate while we're here, and maybe just got together. So maybe not that crazy, but it is a little bit weird. And obviously Austin Matthews is trying to give Connor McDavid some tips to help Connor McDavid be a better number 2 in the world player. And
there it is.
Connor obviously is trying to convince Austin Matthews to come to Edmonton. So
lovely.
I'm not sure if it's still available on Coolbet, but there was a future for obviously Connor to win the Art Ross and Austin Matthews to win the Rocket Richard. I think there was pretty good odds on it still. So it was... Oh, it's gone up a bit. So Connor McDavid to win the Art Ross, or Austin Matthews winning the Maurice Ride, plus 236. So that's
a little sprinkle.
There. That's,
I like the odds of that.
I don't mind that at all. I think that's pretty good. So.
Yeah, the best player in the world winning the Rocket Richard Trophy yet again, and then the second best player in the world somehow managing to win a 5th, 6th, 7th Art Ross if he's lucky.
Mm-hmm. The best.
Big if.
There's a slight joke there.
The best goal scorer in the league. I think we can.
He is. Yeah. No, he is. That without joking, he is the best goal scorer in the league.
He is.
Who's second, do you think, Kass? Who would you put second?
Right now, Leon. Don't you have to have Leon at number 2?
He's up there.
I think I would, after watching Pasternak, I might put Pasternak at 2.
Pretty damn good. Is Kucherov more of a setup man? I mean, he almost got to 100 assists, right? Or did he? He did get it, right?
Yeah. So I don't. Yeah, it's close. Pasternak and Leon. That's pretty tight. They're both. It just seems automatic from their spots. They're both on the other sides with the one timer and stuff.
Brief reminder: Matthews 69 goals last year. Reinhart 57. Zach Hyman, third in the NHL at 54. Nate McKinnon, 51. And then you got Panarin at 49. Philip Forsberg at 48. Pasternak at 47. Braden Point at 46. Tied with Kaprizov. Kucherov rounds out the top 10 with 44. Jonathan Marchessault of the Nashville Predators now, 42.
Yeah, that Predators team, that's going to be a interesting game. That first, when do they play the Oilers first, Tommy?
I can look that up. And Gager, you got to tell us if you had one of those moments where it's like, what the hell? Who are these guys? And why is so-and-so skating with so-and-so on the same ice? And because Perry Pern is always a great and has always been a great collection of players from all over the NHL from Alberta that were there. And you would skate there, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I went there a couple times. The one
it's different for the goalies. The goalies get peppered.
Oh yeah,
absolutely peppered.
But it's great because it's kind of funny. Like back in my day, Noodles was still on the ice, right? So he is so quick and not afraid to chirp guys missing the net and tell everyone how great he is at the same time. So there's a lot of inner competition at Perry Pern. But no, I think we would get peppered. You're right, Kass. And then the 3-on-3, there wasn't a lot of defensive structure. It was basically a 2-on-1 or 2-on-0 practice with really good NHL players. So
yeah, you could see like Jerome Iginla, let's say 15, 20 years ago.
Iginla, Whitney, Bouwmeester.
Like just
a lot of the Oilers were there too, right? So like Comrie, all those guys would be like the skill. One time, I think I counted the amount of Stanley Cup rings that were actually in the dress. I think it was like 11 or 12. Wow. Just in one of those little dressing rooms in KC. There was 12.
KC Twin Arena.
12 Stanley Cup rings at a Perry Pern. That was just one room. We had two, right? So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's always fun to play with really good hockey players.
Yeah. If you were a kid,
but sometimes other guys weasel in that aren't as good, or
like
that make it interesting.
I was there.
I don't know if you guys have heard this story. Yeah, I was there too. Yeah, I was there too. Yeah. Hey, it's like the only time I got to showcase any kind of skill before the season started. So it's like I needed to get those toe drags out of my system before camp started. Yeah. So that's when I did it.
How good was it, Kass, to kind of get like that time of year? You've put in a lot of work already, physically with working out, but get into a real practice run by a very intelligent, smart coach, right? It wasn't he wasn't just coaching by numbers too. Like he would give it to guys if there were passes missed. He'd get pissed sometimes and start. And
he's a true coach.
Oh
Perry.
yeah,
he's in the press box every Oilers.
I know. It's great to see him, but no, he would hold guys a little bit accountable at times, and we would have fun too. It wasn't just.
Oh, you'd also get mad at him. And I don't know if he's out there for you guys, but like Dan Bouwmeester, Jay's dad, was always out there for us too, like helping. Yeah, and helping Perry out, and because it gets competitive, as you said, like it gets, especially like on Championship Fridays, like guys take it seriously, like you want to win that thing, and so you're yelling at the coaches, like if they're calling offsides or not calling penalties and letting things go, and did you have control crossing the blue line because you have to carry it out of the zone to exit the zone on defense.
I like that.
And guys get mad, they get very, very upset and take it very seriously, but. Yeah, I got a couple funny Perry Pern stories. One was Zach Stortini starting to get in a fight with somebody.
Was it
but you? I will say not. No.
Okay.
No, we're getting there. Not his fault. So somehow, what year would this have been? This would have been back, probably about 2009, maybe 2010. In that range, maybe 2008. Like it was. I turned pro already, and I think I had a couple years pro. So maybe it was in closer to 2010. I don't know, but in that range. I can't remember what year it was exactly. But somehow, and I think it's a little less busy than it used to be in terms of total numbers of bodies. But it used to be where it's like Perry would have to turn guys away, right? So you had so many guys that wanted to show up that basically because you have NHL guys, you have AHL guys, and then sometimes you have like East Coast League guys or like Southern Pro League guys or Central League guys. And sometimes those guys would get turned away because you just had too many bodies. And so it's like, okay, well, yes, you're a pro, but we have enough guys. So, the NHL guys get priority and kind of work their way down from there for who's going to go to the camp. Well, somehow, and he's a nice enough guy off the ice. I've only met him once or twice. A guy by the name of Derek Parker got into Perry Pearns. Now, if you were to look at Derek Parker,
I'm doing it right now,
and you were to look at him turning pro, first year pro, he played in the Central League. The guy had over 500 penalty minutes.
503 with Wichita in 04-05 after a year.
And he's still,
in Melville.
As far as I'm aware, he might still be playing, but most of that has been in the Quebec League.
Yes.
Where he averages, I don't know how many penalty minutes, probably over 150 penalty minutes a year.
He only had 140 last year, Cass. No points in 26
only 140
games.
Last year.
-2.
Oh, Jesus.
And I know he did some UFC fighting outside as well. Like at some point he started or maybe not actually not at UFC, but like some mixed martial arts stuff. But he was not, from a playing standpoint, he was not at the level where he should have been on the ice.
Yeah.
But he took it very, very seriously. So he ended up picking a fight with Zach Stortini, and it got broken up pretty quick, so it didn't turn into an actual fight. But Perry ended up kicking him out of the camp. But Derek Parker went back to Perry. He made sure that he got a copy of the stat sheet because he was going to use it for his contract negotiations, of the stat sheet at Perry Pearns.
No.
And he showed up after that pretty much every day. Even though he wasn't on the ice, he still showed up and watched the camp every single day after that. But yeah, him seeing, because again, guys get worked up, but usually you cool down pretty quick. Like, it's the first and only time I've seen a fight at Perry Pearns. Like, I've seen guys kind of chew each other out a little bit and yell at each other, but usually it just, you kind of whatever, you move on from it in a minute or two because it's Perry Pearns. It's not real, NHL or pro hockey. So, but yeah, Derek Parker was out there working real hard, hitting everybody, like actually hitting people at Perry Pearns. And picked a fight with Storts, then got kicked off, then went and got the stat sheet so he could use it in contract negotiations. It was something to behold. And that, again, I only met him once or twice off the ice, and he seemed like a really nice guy. So I have absolutely nothing against Derek Parker. I just remember being like, what is happening right now? Like, these guys getting in a fight at Perry Pearns. And Storts was a big teddy bear. Like, he would scrap, but not at Perry Pearns. It's like he just go out and be Storts. But that was a good little Perry Pearns story.
I'm on his Elite Prospects page right now. In his last 4 seasons in that Quebec League, he's played 22 games, 16 games, 7 games, 26 games, 0 points, -2, 460 penalty minutes.
Is that league still there? Is it?
They played last year.
Oh, okay.
And he was in there with the Laval Petrolier.
God, that league is... That documentary on that league was awful.
Oof.
Yeah. Someone wanted to fight me at Perry Pearns once, actually. You know him really well, actually. It's Ryan Rashog wanted to.
Are you serious?
Well, I've told this story before. I think I remember because it was 2006 and I was going back to Europe and I hadn't signed yet. So I was a little bit down, right? I was like, oh God, what's going on? And I came walking out of Perry and Shoggy was there covering it, I guess, right? So, but I guess when I came out, I was in the shot, right? Because I was like the last guy to leave,
right?
And I came out, and then I looked over, and Shoggy had his back to me, and the cameraman put his hand up, and I looked, and then Shoggy turned around, and the look of disgust in his face. Oh my God, it was, and I said, I'm sorry. And I kind of hustled with, I got my goalie bag.
Yeah.
I'm waddling around and Shoggy's like, yeah, don't worry about it. Like, and I felt like such a heel. I go, oh, and I was down already. And Shoggy just completely kicked me when I was down at that point. Had to redo the shot.
Like Shoggy.
He was probably doing his stand up, right? Yeah, I'm sure. I'm glad we aired that grievance.
Did you guys know?
What?
Just because while he's telling that story, I pulled up the Quebec League and just started looking at rosters. I'm like, I wonder if I know anybody else who's playing. Do you know that Donald Brashear is still playing.
Is he still
in the Quebec League?
Wow.
I had not heard that.
50 what?
Yeah, he's got to be 52, 53.
Yeah.
52.
Those guys get paid, right?
Yeah.
They get paid, but I imagine it's a lot. I don't know. Maybe he has financial stake in the team. I don't know.
No,
But-
he fell on real tough times. There was he lost a lot of his earnings to, I think, substance abuse. He was actually where I saw he was working at Tim Hortons for a while there and getting his life back together.
Wow.
So
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
yeah, too bad. I mean,
Well, it's too bad, and good for him if he's working at getting it back together, and if this is part of it, which is fantastic.
I think this would probably be part of
that process,
right?
Yeah, which would be great. But yeah, no, I had no idea he was still playing. So, I was
But
just
he
like,
could probably still at this point be a pretty good hockey player in that league. You know, even at his age, he could always skate, and you know, he's probably quite good.
He'd chip in offensively, not often, but every now and then.
Yeah, it was definitely. I remember playing against him. I played mostly against him in the minors when he was with Fredericton. They had a tough team, boy. They had the Roberts brothers. The Roberts brothers were hilarious. Two French guys. One guy, he'd come out to the ice. It looked like he was melting because he would have like 2 inches of Vaseline on his face, ready to fight. And he would just sit there with the leather strapped chin strap and just like ready to go. And then his brother Mario, who was tough as well.
I remember him.
Yeah.
Played for the Nordiques.
Yeah. And but wore a hairpiece.
Oh.
So it was I've never seen a guy with a tighter chin strap than him. I thought he was going to choke himself out half the time because he'd get in fights, but he didn't want this helmet to come off because he'd have this dead raccoon on the top of his head. And so one time we're in Fredericton and he was fighting.
Why would you wear a hairpiece underneath your helmet?
I know, but yeah, just in case, right? So one time Dennis Bonvie, they squared off and Dennis he knew if he grabbed the helmet, he could kind of get the better of him because the rest of the fight, Mario would be trying to keep his helmet on so no one could see how bald he was. So Dennis got the helmet off and Mario's trying to keep his toupee on and Dennis is ripping at it and it's all sideways.
Oh, no.
He's going to the penalty box with this sideways wig on and we play at UND. That's where they played where the university, and it's a lot of university kids at these games.
Yeah.
You should that section above the penalty box. Like I was dying laughing because they were just all pointing at Mario's hair and stuff like that.
No.
But yeah, that was pretty funny.
Okay, I'm looking at pictures of him. Yeah, I guess I can see it. Oh, man. Anyway, he doesn't look like he's using it anymore.
No.
He's moved on.
Yeah.
So, okay, a couple of texts have come in. Paris Jewelers inbox 780-218-9999. This one's funny. It's in regard to the Perry Pern skates 3-on-3 at KC Arenas. Jeff Sanderson would go tinkle with his sticks when it was time to skate. Winnebago boys Phil Crow and Johnson brought their motorhome and camped out behind KC rinks. And then Chris Dingman, who we know and is back in town, would try to chisel every point he could.
Well, everyone tries to chisel every point they can. I mean, I respect that. I absolutely respect it. Yeah, no, you are absolutely trying to chisel every point you can. Yeah, bragging rights. For sure.
And then
For people who don't know what chisel is, that's if the ref goes, there's no video replay, obviously, and there who got an assist, and guys keep yelling out second assist. Whatever, if you're in 8.
14.
14 second assist. Yeah.
14, touch that.
So, yeah.
I love it. And then another one says Struddy and Nash took the trophy, the 3v3 trophy, down White Ave to celebrate their big win. I could see that.
We used to party with the Braggers Cup. That was the Comrie's little summer thing.
But you were on that team, and they were really good, right?
Well,
AMHL.
it basically, the Comries set up this summer hockey, played a couple times a week. And it would be we'd make teams each time. It'd be different all the time. And then for the last skate, we would, both Comrie boys would pick a team.
Oh, okay.
And then it was just, like you said, Kass, I thought Kelly Buckberger and Ryan Smith were swinging their sticks at each other's heads.
Wow.
In those games.
They were tight.
Oh yeah, they were tight back then. And it was crazy how competitive those games got. Like we should have had refs. Let's just say that. And we had my old buddy Ryan Bast.
Good dude.
Great dude.
Yes.
But only knew how to play hockey one way. And that was as hard as possible and finish checks. Like it's so funny. Like a guy would be dipsy doodling, like especially if it was a young junior guy, you know, something, and he'd come across and Basti would blow this guy up. It'd be a yard sale. Have equipment everywhere. And Ryan, come on. He goes, hey, head was down. How's he going to learn?
It's August 15th. Don't.
Oh, so good.
Ryan Bass, former Philadelphia Flyer, lives in town now. And actually, he came out to like an alumni skate.
Oh, he comes lots, yeah.
Yeah, great guy. Great guy. I think Jack Michaels had him in Alaska.
Oh, no way.
And that's how I met him. So super good guy. And the 3-on-3 Perry Perns is a great tool for players. Obviously, it's cool for local hockey fans to go. That would be like if you want to get autographs or meet your favorite players, a great spot for a kid. I'm sure there's autograph seekers that go there too. And then the other thing I was going to say as well as Perry Prince, Edmonton plays Nashville twice in October on the 17th and the 31st. So we'll get to see the Preds there.
Oh, in-game.
Yeah,
Nice.
in-game. And then I remember playing against it was Paul Comrie and your team in AMHL Div 1 one summer.
Oh, yeah.
And it was my old junior team. It was all junior A and junior B guys. We played you guys. We got our asses kicked. I ripped one off your head though. I was like, oh, sorry, Joaquin.
That's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Now
Made
we're
a
best
save.
friends. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. We talked about McDavid and Matthews skating together in Munich, of all places. And then we've also seen some discussion. There's some discussion about, do you want to talk about this really quickly, what we saw with Evander Kane? This is just pure stupidity.
I mean, allegedly still.
Yeah.
But Evander Kane driving his truck and someone spitting on it and followed by the words as you don't belong here. Just that type of behavior, raising its ugly head. Watching the video, you know, it seems to me that this guy realized, oh, I made a huge mistake here.
And stupid.
Very, very dumb. Yeah, be better. And it's to a point, Tommy, where that type of behavior is in Canada. It's not tolerated. Okay, and
no, nor should it be. Nor should it be. No, that's stupid. It's stupid.
Had some repercussions for that. It's disgusting. I hate it. I've dealt with it, and every time you think that things are getting better, it rears its ugly head. I hate that kind of stuff. But good on, and I talked about this a lot of times. Sometimes it's easier just to, and move away. Good on Evander Kane for confronting it. That's hard to do in that situation when something like that happens, and exposing it. And I'm glad he did.
Super disappointing, Kass.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's people being stupid. People being stupid. And I wonder, like, I don't know what led to it in the first place, but I typically, make fun isn't the right word. I have lots of friends who bike, but I get incredibly frustrated with people that bike and don't follow the rules of the road. Because when you're on a bike and you're on the road, you're supposed to behave, stop, signal, do all the things like you're a car, but bikers don't all the time, which puts them in dangerous situations because cars don't know what they're doing, and they are on the road, then they're on the sidewalk, then they're on the road, then they're not signaling, and then they're just behaving erratically. And not all of them, not everybody that does that. But I wonder if there was something like there was that happened that led to it, where the biker was then frustrated and then acted out of frustration. But being frustrated or being angry is no excuse for something like that. That's stupid. It's foolish, and they're it's dumb and it's horrible. Absolutely dumb, absolutely horrible. Yep.
Here's a good one. It came in via the nasty chat, and it comes in from Chris. Did Brashear make enough to get the NHL pension? He played over 1,000 games.
Well, you have to remember, so the NHL pension changed in 2012, 2013.
Okay. You guys
that
know
lockout,
about this.
the pension change.
Yeah.
Yep. So the old pension was what you call the defined contribution pension, where play games, league puts in money for you, and you build up this pension. But it switched to a defined benefit pension post 2013, where it's U.S. domiciled, so it's a U.S. pension. Because just the way they structured it, there was a little more favorable rules running out of the States versus running out of Canada. So all players to a certain extent qualified for the pension in the NHL. They played pre to 2012, 2013, which Brashear would have. But it's not like it wasn't like a teacher's pension, that old one. So it didn't max out the same way. And I know people kind of got, you got max pension. It was a little different, the historical one, the old one. So it's very possible he had it and he had got a lot in it, but it's also very possible that through life and through decisions that went away, or it was used, or it was gone. So now there's players' assistance. There's different sort of things that the NHLPA and NHL alumni in the NHL try to do to help players if they get in a situation that is not very favorable. So yeah, I mean, you don't know, and it's impossible for us to know unless we're actually looking at stuff. So to answer that, Chris, did he make enough to get the pension? Well, he would have got a pension. He would have had enough for some form of it, but it functions differently than like a normal defined benefit pension does here in Canada.
Yeah, it would have suited him way better with a defined benefit pension because it would have been regular income throughout the rest of his life, right?
And the way the NHL one works, it's set up so that if you needed to pull it at age 45, you can.
Yeah.
For guys, and not aware of a way, nor would it make sense to or would be commuting it, but to basically pull it out and to get the cash yourself. I don't know if you can even do that with that one. But the new NHL pension is unbelievable. It's fantastic. It's the only thing in that lockout. When that lockout happened, I look back at it. Well, I even said that then. I said it's going to be horrible for young players, and it's going to be horrible for bubble players. Going to be great for the top end guys. Top end guys are going to make their money, make a lot of it. But it's going to be very hard for guys that make it into the league to stay in the league, because you're going to have to cut costs somewhere, and that usually ends up being your, we'll call it middle of the pack guys that are NHL players but become too expensive. But that pension, I think, just helps so tremendously because it put or can put guys that play 2 or 3 years in the league. You can get a really good pension long term out of it, and so it can really help with that. We'll call it post career transition, and a lot of I can talk about that stuff all day. I'm not gonna jump into it more than that, but it's what I do every day. So
you and Gager wear a few different hats: analysts, broadcasters, financial advisors, which is great. A great resource, and you guys do it tremendously well, and you're a wealth of knowledge for us here at EST, which we appreciate. I got a couple of texts that have come in. Louis says, I wear 14 and I chisel every point possible. I feel attacked. I'm sorry, Louis. I just picked 14 as a number when I use that. Tube Sock says, speaking of chiseling points, my kid played with a guy whose dad often worked the box. Anytime he did, he would add phantom assists for his kid. About a month into the season, the parents started questioning what was going on. As their games were broadcast on Facebook, and parents would go back and rewatch the games and see that he gave him assists sometimes when he wasn't even on the ice for the goal. The team stopped broadcasting the games after that. So the chiseling continued, Tube Socks. And like in I remember like junior B, like there would be times where if they announced the goal and the assist wrong, like the coach or the captain would be like, listen, you got it wrong. And then they would be like, okay. And then they'd announce it and correct it. But I've heard that even in the NHL and AHL, guys try to chisel.
Oh, yeah. Why wouldn't you? Not cheating, not trying, as far as I'm concerned. I'd throw in there 31.
I saved that.
Oh, man. No, it's... it'll always happen. It's hilarious. Men's league, it happens.
Of course.
If there was only 3 assists, it would make 100-point seasons for guys. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny now, but I remember even in junior when you'd have guys getting into the pile, and the ref would sometimes come into the pile and say, "Who got that?" And he'd get like 8 numbers, more numbers than that. So it's it's funny. It's funny. I'd love a little like. If you could go back and mic everyone up and hear it, it would be hilarious to hear that. Yeah, I touched that.
In like Bantam, AA, AAA, and all that, we had a couple of guys on my team that would always throw their numbers out there, and you're like, you weren't even on the ice, you idiot. And then you'd be like, well, why is he at the top of the scoring? Well, he chiseled points, and they'd get away with points. It. Yeah,
I played with a guy in the minors that if he was like after a goal, he would jump on the ice and go right into the scrum.
No.
And so he would get a plus.
Oh, that's so bad. I remember on the charter after a game, a former Oiler going to the PR crew and saying, hey, I won X amount of assists. They don't have me, or X amount of face-offs, and they don't have my face-off percentage correct. And I think that was for like potential contract negotiations.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, no, guys do that in the NHL all the time. Like if there's a dispute over that, like they will go. Usually they don't do it in front of everyone, but they'll go and they'll be like, hey, to their stats guys or the video coaches, to everyone to be like, hey, you need to get this fixed.
Yeah.
Like, or you need to approach. You basically have to petition the league to say, hey, this needs to be changed because it does affect you. I mean, some of those for guys that aren't like big goal scorers, because they generally, and they do it during the game, like they adjust the assists, they adjust the goals. Someone tipped it, whatever.
They review everything right there.
Well, for goals and assists, yes, but not necessarily on face-offs,
block shots,
on hits or block shots and that sort of thing. Turnovers or forced turnovers, where some guys will, because that does, especially for guys in the bottom 6, like that factors in to negotiations. So guys go and get it changed, and so they should.
Dude, you should have seen it. Like back in my day, it wasn't monitored as well. You would have thought at the end of the year, like guys have plus minus kind of bonuses and stuff. If there was a 2-on-1 coming back the other way, you would have thought that somehow that some guys on my team's skates became electrified because they were jumping into the bench so quickly to not get a minus. Like it was crazy. You saw 2 guys. All you saw was their butts and their skates trying to get in. It's true.
Just trying to get off.
Just because they knew they were going to get a bonus by the end of the year if they kept and they were on the brink. Oh yeah.
If you saved that 2-on-1, I would chirp them so hard.
Oh, I did.
Good.
Who did it once? God, I think it was a Czech guy that did it once, and it was so blatantly obvious. Like he just skated. He probably could have caught the 2-on-1.
Like,
but he went straight to the bench.
Wow, that is so good. Jasmine also chimes in. Jasmine will be also joining as a co-host on the Hangout starting next week, which we are very, very excited about. In regard to the Evander Kane video that popped up that Gager and Kass were talking about, Jasmine said, yes, that made me sad. It makes Edmonton look so bad. Everyone. I was getting reshares from Vancouver and Calgary. Yeah, so it's just super disappointing again. Andrew says via the inbox, Tommy, I feel like that face-off stat has Eric Belanger all over it. It was not Eric Belanger. Good one, though. Great pull. Great pull, Andrew. That is fun. I liked Eric Belanger. A lot of people thought he was really grumpy. And Kass, were you ever around him? I don't know if you were around him. Maybe in Minnesota.
No, he was in Mini. Played with Bella and Mini.
I enjoyed being around him because everyone thought he was super grumpy. But you talk to him, and you're like, this guy's hilarious.
He was funny.
Yeah.
No, it was. I mean, it could very easily come across as being grumpy. I could see it's like if you didn't spend time with him. Actually, like to get to understand him at all, I think you might view him as being grumpy, but I thought he was funny. I thought he was really funny. I liked Bella. I liked him a lot. Actually, I really enjoyed him.
Super funny guy. Good pull, Andrew. Classic Oiler from the Decade of Darkness. The Cooler, as some nicknamed him, because if you were on his line, you were going on a cold streak.
Cooler. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, he did have some good offensive seasons, though. He was a great face-off man, and he had Kass maybe with you guys. He's a 20-goal guy, I think.
Yeah.
And he was good in Colorado as well. So, yeah, by the time he got here, they called him the Cooler. I thought that was a apropos nickname and a little bit harsh because he was at the end of his career anyway. So, good pull, Andrew. All right, this is Two Guys and a Goalie. Tom Gazzola, Joaquin Gage in studio. Kass is joining us via his work studio, and we got Zach to come controlling things at the new setup and control panel, which is very elaborate. Looks like a spaceship. That thing could take off.
Looks good.
It looks really good. And it changed the dynamic of the room. It feels like there's more space in here.
It does.
Of this studio, which is great. Well done, Matthew Iwanek. Let's get to Hire It or Fire It, presented by GS Construction, which is now hiring. Become a part of their great team today by visiting gsconstruction.ca or visit their page on indeed.ca. And for the past 50 years, the foundation of GS Construction has been built on efficiency, quality, and safety. Take your career to the next level. Join the team at GS Construction. Well, we talked about this a little bit, watching Matthews and McDavid skating together. Hire it or fire it. Austin Matthews is the best player in the world. I'm just kidding. Hire it or fire it. Austin Matthews wins or even gets a sniff at the Art Ross Trophy this year. Gage.
Fire it. The Oilers power play hasn't changed at all. It's just added more experience and familiarity playing with one another. There's no way to match it. No, fire it.
Yeah,
fire it. He's not going to get enough assists. If you're asking Rocket Richard, I'd probably say hire it. I mean, every year he's going to have a chance to win that. The guy scores goals, but doesn't put up assists. No, there's too many other guys. There's too many other guys like McDavid, Draisaitl. It will be like Nathan McKinnon, Kucherov, like all those guys that still he's going to have to find a way. It's like unless everybody gets hurt, no, there's no chance. No chance.
He's a Cy Young winner. Is what we used to call guys like that. Just 70 goals, 2 assists.
Well, 38 assists this past season, 69 goals. So that's the crazy part. All right, there was talk, and Mike Russo wrote this article about UC Saros. Remember, he was in trade talks and rumblings last year, and then he signs that huge extension with the Preds, and all of a sudden, Yaroslav Askarov, who's supposed to be the next goalie or franchise goalie for the Predators, is shipped off to San Jose. Hire it or fire it. Yaroslav Askarov becomes a superstar goalie in the National Hockey League. Kass. Or a legit number one all-star, even that.
Well, no, we got to, I think, let's say, stick with the all-star.
Yeah.
Because legit number one, I would hire it, but like top tier franchise goalie, I'm going to fire it because it's San Jose. And it's like, I think he's going to get so beaten down the next 2 years in San Jose that I don't know, can you climb out of that hole? Like, are you going to get absolutely now? Maybe you do. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm gonna fire it. I'm gonna fire it. And I think there's still question marks around it because why would Nashville trade him if they knew? Right? If you knew he was going to be franchise guy, another guy coming in, he's going to be way cheaper than Saros, and you can move Saros for a lot of like. You could have moved him or whatever. Like they pick Saros, who already is at that level. So yeah, I got to fire it.
Gager, because he's played 3 NHL games, 2 last season. His numbers in the AHL, 239 GAA last year in 44 games with a 911 save percentage. He matched that save percentage the year prior in the AHL and had a 269 GAA. His record last season, 30-13-1 with Milwaukee. The year before, 26-16-5. So I think ready to take that next step. So hire it or fire it. He's going to be an all-star goalie in the NHL. Maybe even with the San Jose Sharks.
I'd say his chances of probably becoming an all-star with San Jose are quite good because they're so bad. But I don't think he'll be able to put up numbers like that. So, and you don't know what you have yet. Good for him to get into a position where, you know what, I want to go somewhere else. Ballsy, yeah, without having a lot of NHL experience. But really, like you said, I think with looking at San Jose now, how long before they're an actual competitive team in the Pacific, I think you might see a little bit of a little bit of a John Gibson kind of situation where you get beat to a pulp, and there's going to be games when he's probably, he'll have to be the best player on most nights for that team. And the amount of times that a goalie can win a game on his own at the NHL level, at any levels, maybe anywhere between, 3-5 times a year where it's just you.
Yep.
It doesn't happen that often. And I worry, and he's not a big guy too, right? He's not a
listed.
monster.
He's skinny.
Yeah.
178. He's
tall
tall, lanky.
How tall is
6'3" they have him listed
is he
as.
6'3"? Okay,
Yeah.
I thought he was shorter than that.
Saros is 5'11".
Yeah.
He's like the only starting goalie under 6 feet tall.
So
Dustin Wolf.
Yeah. It's just a lot
one.
more movement that those guys have to do over the course of 60 minutes compared to a bigger guy. But I thought he was a little bit smaller. I didn't like he was a big coming out of the World Juniors there.
Yes.
And it's a short sample size and it doesn't always go well, but he didn't overly impress during the World Juniors. But no, something to keep an eye on. But I worry about how the next few years are going to affect him in San Jose.
It's going to be interesting, and we'll see how he does in San Jose. Okay, we'll stick with goalie talk here. Hire it or fire it. He's an RFA right now with the Boston Bruins. They've already gotten rid of Ullmark, so Jeremy Swayman will be able to maintain the same level of play that he has the past few years in tandem with Ullmark, but that no longer is the case as Ullmark has moved on. Hire it or fire it. Gager.
I'm going to fire it. I think this is the kind of situation that happens with a lot of players coming out of college and going into the NHL, a little bit different, just because the amount of games are going to increase, right?
Yeah.
I think he's going to, when he eventually signs, he'll have a good start, but I think you'll see by probably, that lull in the season around end of December, January, where maybe his game it's falling apart a little bit just from, now he's playing a lot more. And I think he'll get it back.
Yeah.
But it's just something that he hasn't done over the past, 3-4 seasons.
Right.
Like there's been a consistent game in, game out. That's something that you have to learn as the bona fide number one guy. And I just think it's a little bit easier in Boston with the travel because there's not too much.
Right.
But it'll be he's done it before in his career. I know that, but it'll be a little bit of adjustment for him.
Kass?
Yeah, I'm gonna hire it. He's still got a really, really good team in front of him, and a pretty deep team in front of him. He'll play a few more games, but I think he's gonna be fine. So I'm gonna hire it.
All right, last one for you. This one comes from, I think Jim Matheson talked to Sam Gagner, and he said he had a bunch of PTO options. Hire it or fire it. Sam Gagner plays in the NHL this season. Kass, you first.
You got to think if there's enough interest, somebody wants him around to be maybe in and out of the lineup, maybe be a guy that's scratched, maybe play up and down. I'm going to hire it. I think Gag's got one more. He's got one more.
All right.
I'm going to fire it. Time for his wife to take her place. And is it pediatrics that she's in? I don't.
She's a doctor.
She's
right?
a doctor.
Yeah.
I thought she was. I don't know. Whatever discipline she is.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely lady.
Let her. Time for her career to flourish. Sam, stay at home with the kids. That's it. He's done.
You're firing it. I'll hire it out of wishing him an opportunity to get back into the NHL. But I thought for sure last year it was his swan song, and it was right that it happened in orange and blue. But I don't mind him being a stubborn 35-year-old saying, "I'm not done until you tell me I'm done." But I know he started a hockey program in Muskoka. I think he was posting some stuff on his social media. So
That's nice.
good for him. And listen, I think he'll be in hockey for the rest of his life as long as he wants to, right? So, but maybe it's time. I think it would have been nice to see him play one game in the playoffs, wouldn't it?
Yeah. You would have noticed him, I think, right? It's funny, those really skilled hockey players, they find a way and they can adjust. And obviously when he was first with the Oilers, he was just a dynamo on the ice with what he was able to do. Obviously, Father Time, unbeaten, not the same player, but still was effective. And I said it on before. I love the fact that in the offensive zone, he'd get the puck. If there was no other play, he would find a way to get it on net, right?
Yeah.
Get a whistle, make the goalie make a save. I just thought it was brilliant.
Okay, that was Hire It or Fire It, presented by GS Construction. We've had a couple texts about this, and I'll throw it to you guys as we wind things down. Lots of Tony Deangelo discussion, and people saying, are you going to discuss rumors about Deangelo joining the Oilers at league minimum? Yeah, I guess we can. What do you think, Kass? Should the Oilers get Tony Deangelo on defense or not?
Fire it. What? I mean, there's controversy there. There's what we've seen has been apparently issues in the room in the past.
Yeah.
Why?
He punched.
Why?
Was it
Why?
Georgiev or Shesterkin? I think it was Shesterkin.
Well, he may have deserved it. We don't know with certainty if he deserved it or not.
Fair.
We don't know.
Right.
But
Just like Kass
regardless,
gets a fight. Well, what'd the goalie say to him?
What do you say?
Well, hey, that's a fair question. Yeah, it's a fair question. Yeah, I like for the type of player too, where I'm like, it's not like he's a reliable defensive guy that's coming in. You know, he's a guy that isn't necessarily great in his own zone, and it can at times provide some offense for you. But to me, it just doesn't make sense. If you're going that route, you'd look Tyson Barrie first, right? If you could get him for some reason at or close to league minimum, why wouldn't you do that? But I'm not sold on Tyson Barrie coming in either. So I just don't think the type of player, the potential issues or the potential for issues, it's just a no to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna fire it. I think the Oilers should first, before they look outside, see what they have first. Maybe if things work out perfectly, and then go from there. They don't know what I don't think they know what they have yet with the certain players that have come in on the back end.
Brown, Emberson, Stetcher still kicking around.
Yeah. So I believe that's what the Oilers are going to do. They're going to start. They'll start the season this way. And then, I mean, we talked about it last time on Two Guys. Probably have your eyes on someone that you think you need now and start cultivating that, maybe that trade deadline.
Yeah. I think that's a good reminder that you can improve your defense mid-season.
Exactly.
It does happen. Text coming in from Burgerler. Says, Deangelo spilled the tea about that altercation on a podcast recently. I had a Rangers coach that I know through some things, and he said that, yeah, there was some chirping back and forth. Deangelo decided to punch the goal.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it happens.
It happens.
Probably deserved it. Yeah.
Oh, man. Hey, Kass, really quick, we have a couple minutes left. Any, fights during the season, during practice that you can recall? And Gager, I'll throw that to you as well. But
stuff happened. I mean, I went at a couple guys over the course of my career because it's going to happen. It really does happen. Generally, it just doesn't get out, right? Like usually, it's not in the press when something happens. Zenon Konopka was in a fight with his own teammates like every 2 days, and on his cell phone trying to make business deals in the intermissions of games. Like he was that guy. Although apparently he mellowed out after I left Minnesota, and he apparently got better. I don't know. I wasn't there after that, but he was a guy that just drove people nuts. They would get into it with him. I mean, I went at it. I think I've talked about it. We were friends, still friends, but with Anton Hobodin, who is a goalie, Russian goalie that didn't like to try and practice, and it drove me nuts. So I started ripping pucks at his head. And so he started shooting them back at me in the corner. So
that didn't go well.
That didn't go well. Yeah, that didn't go well. That was one. I got one. It seemed to happen for me, at least more in junior, but that was before people were maybe as scared of me as they should have been when I got angry. I had one guy by the name of Ty Morris in Vancouver when I was there. So I was 16, 17. He was a 20-year-old. And he was just running his mouth and just chirping me. And I don't remember at this time now exactly what he's saying, but it was driving me nuts. And I told him, I'm like, stop. I'm like, enough. Yeah. Like, enough. And I told him like 5 times, like, just stop. And he wouldn't. So it was in the dressing room at the practice rink at Tilbury Arena in Delta, BC. And so I just walked over there because he was standing up. I was standing up, and I just pushed him like two hands right in the middle of the chest, like gave him a hard shove and just back against the wall. So his back slammed against the wall, and he kind of fell down like into his locker, into his stall. And I was just sitting there, and I just had a hand up here. I didn't hit him. I thought about hitting him. And he immediately, the light bulb went on. He was like, wait a second. And even at 16, 17, where I was like, it wasn't losing fights in the dub at that point against guys that were 20 and bigger than me and been around a lot longer. Oof. And he completely changed after that. Where it's just he stopped. Yeah, he stopped. That was one of the more memorable ones. But you get into it sometimes with guys where there's some pushing or shoving. I don't think I ever had like a full on gloves dropped in practice. But guys would get into it. Like it's going to happen. It is going to happen. You're going to have conflict. Now, you could argue that conflict should be resolved peacefully, and really it should. But on the ice, sometimes stuff happens in the locker room. It doesn't mean someone should, even if someone's really upsetting you, you don't have the right just to punch somebody. But sometimes stuff happens. Usually we just don't hear about it.
Right. That's a way to send a message. Did you ever get into an altercation with a teammate during a season, or was there a good one that you remember during your playing days?
Oh, yeah. Because, guys like Kass want to practice their one-timers from the bottom of the circles. No,
it might happen in the game, Gager. I need to get good at it.
Oh, God.
Good point.
God, it's just ridiculous. No, I remember one time we were practicing breakaways, shootouts, and a guy forget his name, Corey? I'll think of it. He came down and just coasted in and just ripped one. And I'm way out. Yeah. I'm way out of the net. And I'm just kind of, working on everyone's deking and stuff. And he just rips one right off my shoulder. Oh. And there was no need for it. He shot as hard as humanly possible. And I chased him and I grabbed him. And goalies shouldn't fight because we got too much equipment on. Right. But for some reason, it worked out really well for me. I grabbed him, I spun him, he dropped his gloves, I dropped my glove. I might have kept the blocker on. And
that's a smart play.
I touched him up once with the blocker, and I hit him so hard that I actually felt bad. I go, ooh, that was. I dropped my blocker, and I threw another, and I connected again. Oof. And I hit him 3 times before everyone got in there because I think he was just stunned it all happened.
Right.
And it wasn't. Yeah, he was pissed. Oh, I was mad too. But the next day, of course, you feel bad the next day, and I'm still kind of mad a little bit. He was still he didn't say hi to me or didn't try to.
Well, you beat him up.
Well, yeah, but he did something real stupid. I had this massive bruise on my shoulder, or it was like my collarbone, right? So, and he didn't say anything, and then he came down first drill and pretended to take a slap shot from the hash marks, and didn't, and just skated into the corner, and it started up again. I went over to him again, I said some things to him, and after that we kind of patched it all up. But I go, don't do that. That's ridiculous.
That is dumb.
So
it's beautiful. Good story time today.
Dumb forwards.
Hashtags from slappers and one-timers from the bottom of the circle. Hashtag hiding grapes. Or smuggling grapes.
Smuggling grapes. Hashtag smuggling grapes.
That's going to do it for Two Guys and a Goalie presented by GS Construction. Fun show today. It's going to pick up next week. We'll see if the Oilers do sign somebody. But enjoy the long weekend, boys. It's going to be a fun year number 2. Here at ESD, as I think this is the last episode of Two Guys and a Goalie before we kick off year 2.
This is it.
Fantastic work as always. Kass, great stuff. Gager, great day today. Zacticum was excellent. That's going to do it for Matty Kassian, Joaquin Gage, and Zacticum. I'm Tom Gazzola saying thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see ya later.